This video will demonstrate what it's like. Take two. This video will demonstrate what it's like to be a student in a DBL activity. First, students will read the problem that you provide them in the task window. This can be a text, an image, a video, or anything you would like your students to solve, analyze, and/or evaluate. The problem shown here is an example from a statistics course where students are attempting to select the appropriate statistical method among many other methods. They will make their selection based on the wording of a research question like this one. This problem reads, which facilities experience more safety anxiety measured on a scale of 1 to 10, US, European, or African facilities? You sample 101 from US facilities, 89 from European facilities, and 83 from African facilities. Students are then directed to read the first question in the decision point below. In this case, it reads, is the problem above a descriptive or inferential question? The student can then select one of the two options that follow, descriptive or inferential. If they are unsure, they can select the How Do I Decide button. It is here where they receive the instruction created by you, the instructor, necessary to answer this question. In this brief instruction, they will see the options to choose from, with a definition of the first option. In this case, descriptive statistics are used when you want to know something about everyone in an entire group. Then provide students an example of the definition like this. Who has greater median income? Those in states that use daylight savings time or those who do not. Check census data of all citizens in each state and compare the difference. Then the student's attention is directed to the clue in the problem that connects the example to the definition. In this case, you have information through census data on everyone in this defined population. They do the same for the next option with a definition that reads, inferential statistics are used when you want to know something about everyone from a smaller group. Here is an example. Who eats more pizza slices in a single sitting? Football, hockey, or soccer players? You sample 20 football, 23 hockey, and 22 soccer players, and generalize the results. Once again, the student's attention is directed to the clue in the problem that connects the example to the definition along with an explanation. In this case, it is an inferential problem, generalizing from a small sample of athletes to all athletes in these three groups. Here is a summary slide for them to review. Optionally, the students can practice their newly acquired knowledge. Here they are presented with a new problem where they can select the option they think is correct, inferential or descriptive. They are then shown the correct answer, along with the clues in the problem and an explanation. They continue reading the problem and selecting the answer they think is correct, seeing what the actual correct answer is, along with the clues in the problem, and an explanation connecting the clues to the definition of the correct option. Continuing through to the final practice example, they then return to the original problem in the DBL software. Now the students are ready to choose an appropriate answer for this original problem. They notice the word sample and consider that they will be inferring from these samples to the larger population of employees at facilities in these countries. They select inferential. After selecting inferential, the students see the next question, which is this a question of difference, relationship, or goodness of fit? If they're unsure, they can click on the How Do I Decide button, and they'll be brought to similar instruction as was previously illustrated. In this way, they learn the concepts and in some instances, procedures necessary to make each decision when faced with a concrete problem or scenario. They continue the process of noticing the clues or conditions in the problem that suggest a correct option. They finally arrive at the final decision point. It is at this decision point that they draw on their answers to all their previous decisions to make a final decision, in this case, selecting the appropriate statistical method based on the wording of the research question above. The student clicks on How Do I Decide? Here they learn that t-tests are used when you're comparing two group averages, and ANOVAs are used when comparing three or more group averages. And since there are three groups, in the original problem, they know the correct answer is the ANOVA family. The student finds details about ANOVA methods and notices that the one-way ANOVA is the best fit for this problem type. Returning to the decision model, the student selects a one-way ANOVA. When the student selects the correct final option, the box next to the problem in the left panel list turns blue. But what happens when they choose the incorrect option? Let's find out. This is the message that indicates that the option selected is incorrect. When the student clicks Show Me, the software takes the student back to the first mistake they made, giving them an opportunity to understand why they made that mistake and learn. Students continue to work through each problem. They can save and exit at any time. They can see the entire decision model and their performance on it by clicking Progress. This is the decision model in its entirety. Here is the path we just completed. Let's look at the first decision point. Here's the first question. By clicking Details, students can see specific information on their performance. Here is a dashboard of information. This student has taken 70 problems through this one decision point over the course of a semester. Of that total, they've answered 55 problems correct when choosing between descriptive and inferential options, which is approximately 79% correct. More specifically, this student took 25 problems that were descriptive through this decision point and answered 20 of them correctly, or 80% correct. They took 45 problems through this decision point when the correct answer was inferential and answered it correctly for 35 of the problems, or about 78% correct. If the student would like to practice to improve their ability with this decision point, they click Practice. They then click Begin Practice. The student reads the problem and selects an option. If they're incorrect, they will see this message. If they get it correct, they'll see this message. Then they'll click on the next problem and continue until they feel they've mastered this decision point. The student can practice at any point in the decision model. Finally, a couple of things about this heat map. A greenish line means that when this option was the correct answer, the student selected correctly most of the time. Reddish to orangish colors mean that when this was the correct option, the student answered it mostly incorrectly. The thicker the line means more problems have been taken through this option than options where the line is thinner. And that concludes this example of a DBL activity from a student's perspective.